this problem is from the rationalizing the denominator. So what does this mean? Rationalizing the denominator means we have to make this fraction looks like a rational number. Like if we see here, it consists of a surds, right? So root 2 is because of that root 2 there, it is a surd, and we have to remove that root sign from the denominator. That is what we call the rationalizing the denominator. All right, and while solving these type of problems, we have to know about the conjugate, right? So the conjugate means, for example, so I'll just write it on the side so you don't have to write it this one in the exam. So conjugate of x plus y is say x minus y. Okay, let me see. Root x is root x minus y, or the vice versa. So the conjugate of this term is this term, and conjugate of these can be interchanged. All right, so what we have to do while rationalizing the denominator is we have to multiply numerator and denominator by the conjugate of denominator. That is, if the denominator is root over 2 minus 1, its conjugate is root over 2 plus 1, right? We just change the sign in between these two terms. So we have to multiply numerator and denominator by this conjugate, root over 2 plus 1. So let's do it. Solution. We have root over 2 plus 1 divided by root over 2 minus 1. So we multiply by root over 2 plus 1 divided by root over 2 plus 1. So while we multiply these two, the numerator is the perfect square, that is root over 2 plus 1 whole square divided by this one is a square minus b square. So if we open this bracket, so this is root over 2 square plus 2 root over 2 dot 1 plus 1 square, the simple formula, and here we get 2 minus 1, right? And if we open this, root 2 square is 2 plus 2 times root 2 is 2 root 2 plus 1 divided by 1. So 2 plus 1 is 3 plus 2 root 2. So we don't have to divide by 1 because it is the same number. So our answer is 3 plus 2 root 2. And we have got our answer. And if we see here, we don't find any denominator, so it's rationalized. But even if there was denominator, which was, well, suppose if this root 2 was replaced by root 3, then in denominator it would have been 2. That will be completely out of the root, right? So that is what we call the rationalizing the denominator. And you don't have to know the concept of conjugate, so you can do this even if you don't know these things. What you have to do is you just have to multiply this denominator by the opposite sign. Say if the denominator is a plus b, you multiply numerator and denominator both by a minus b and a minus b. All right, great. Good luck.